Hey, sports fans, PB&Z, Sports Chaos. We're back with our last preview, the NFC South. PB's got his Tampa Tom shirt on. Is that what that is?
It's Tampa Brady.
Tampa Brady. And by the way, I see you're drinking a little Florida drink as well, right?
Oh, yeah, this is delicious. This is one of my favorites down here. It's Tropical Bay IPA. It's by Biscayne Bay Brewing out of Miami. It's a Miami-inspired IPA. Very, very tasty. It's 6%, so it's not too heavy, but it's really nice. It's a good drink. I recommend it. For those of you who are up on the, in the Boston area, in the Northeast, if you can get your hands on one of these, you should try it.
Nice. All right. Hey, I know we're going to talk a little Dynasty Fantasy in a moment. You can explain to the fans who are not familiar with Dynasty Fantasy. We'll talk about that momentarily. Before we get into it, last week we talked AFC South. They already have a big blow. They announced today that Trevor Lawrence is going to stop. They also announced Travis Etienne, the other first rounder, is out for the season. I think that's a tough blow for those guys. I don't know how they're going to handle that. We'll talk about that more. And the Pats, Cam Newton, man, he just can't stay out of harm's way. Last year he gets COVID. He missed a game or two. He was a little bit sick. This year he now breaks COVID protocol. He may get Wally Pip out of the starting lineup this year by Mac Jones because of this situation, right? We'll see what happens.
Fortunately, Mac Jones is having a good camp so far. So Cam Newton's not doing himself any favors, that's for sure.
Wally pipped. Hey, Pat's made a big move, kind of a big move. We said that Sony Michel would not be on the roster, at least I did. He is not going to be on the roster. They traded him to the Rams for a couple late-round draft picks. In hindsight, that's a good move for the Rams. They were short of running back. Cam Akers got hurt. He's out for the season. Darrell Henderson is a little bit banged up. They needed a running back. He may do some damage there. We'll see. I don't know. We'll talk more about that during our preview show in the coming weeks. And by the way, I just can't help think about this, PB. These damn Yankees, they don't stop winning. Meanwhile, the Orioles don't stop losing.
They'll stop losing. 19.
Collision course. It's unbelievable. The Yankees have won more games in a row in 30 years. Ironically, the Orioles have lost more games in a row in 30 years. Go figure, right?
They might break their own record. I think 21 straight losses is the record in Major League Baseball, and they have 19. So if they get to 21, they're going to tie their own record.
Their team record's 21. The modern day record's 23. The all-time record's 26.
Oh, okay. All right.
But they're going to probably tie by Friday night, by the next show we do. They might tie the record at that point in time of the team. So we'll see. And we'll talk about the ACC, Pac-12, Big Ten announcement of their alliance, which really was nothing, in my opinion. We'll get into that in a week or so. But we got to talk about this Dynasty Football. All right, tell us about Dynasty Football and tell us about these big trades you get on the radar.
All right. Well, Dynasty Football, basically, for those of you who don't know, is you draft a team. Well, if it's your first year playing, you draft a team, a full team of players that are comprised of everybody that's in the NFL, including rookies. And usually you'll go deep into, early, mid, late 20s rounds because you have to put your whole team together. Once you have that team, that's your team for the rest of your life. The only way that you can ever get other players on your team is through the actual NFL draft, meaning you're picking rookies or taking people that are waived or dropped by other teams, okay, or through a trade. So it's basically just like managing a real NFL team. So when I propose these trades to you that are current trades that have been going on in our league, think about it from the standpoint of you owning a franchise. So it's not just about winning this year. It's about over the long haul. It's about would you building a football team, right? Do this or that, right?
All right.
The first of these trades that my Dynasty League has asked that we analyze and wants to hear Z's opinion on them. And this one is, all right, this is an interesting one. So you have Russell Gage, Nakeem Hines, and a 2022 first-round draft pick for Jonathan Taylor and Justin Fields. What do you think about that? Let's see.
Russell Gage is so-so. I don't know if he's going to be a stud. The other kid, Hines, is definitely not going to be a player. And at 2022, depends where you're drafting at for a first-round pick. Justin Fields should be a star in this league. Jonathan Taylor is going to be a star this season, and it's only his second year, and Fields is in his first. So I wouldn't take the trade. I would keep.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I mean,
Fields and Taylor.
Yeah, I would keep Taylor and Fields too all day long. I mean, Russell Gage is behind Calvin Ridley, who's probably one of the top, 8 to 10 receivers in this league right now. You got Kyle Pitts, their first round pick, is going to be a big target for this year. Russell Gage is going to kind of fall off the map in that regard. He might even be a 2 or a 3 or a 4 in terms of targets on that team. So don't like the trade at all. I mean, like you said, the 2022 first round draft pick is enticing, but you don't know where you're going to pick with that. So I agree 100% with you on that one. Here's another one. Chase Claypool for Kyle Trask and a 2023 first round pick.
So first of all, Chase Claypool is only in his second year, and to me, it's going to be an absolute stud. He showed it last year. I talked about him a lot. Kyle Trask, I don't think is going to be a factor in the NFL. He's a Florida quarterback. They never pan out. The 2023 or 2024, what'd you say was the draft pick?
2023 first rounder.
The 2023 has intrigue if you can get close to the top because Spencer Rattler will be available at that point in time. I don't think he comes out next year. I think he comes out the following year. That's an intriguing because of Spencer Rattler just by itself, if you could get him.
That's a great point, Z. I like that. And by the way, the first trade that we talked about, that was not accepted. That was rejected. So that trade did not go through.
Okay.
This trade did go through. This trade was accepted. So Chase Claypool was traded for Kyle Trask and a 2023 first round pick. Like you said, it really just depends on, because it's a dynasty league, right? What's that team going to look like in 2023, 2024 with a potential of a guy like Rattler or someone else, but you just don't know, again, where you're going to pick with that first pick. You could have the 7th or 8th pick in that draft, right? There's 12 teams in the dynasty league. So, if Rattler's going to be number 1 off the board and you don't get that one pick, it's kind of a foregone conclusion. So I do like Chase Claypool. I probably would have kept Claypool in that case and not given up my, I would have taken Claypool and given up that pick. Because of Claypool potential.
Yeah, because of Claypool. But whoever's getting Kyle Trask, I get 2 words for you. Timmy Tebow. All right, next.
Oh, wait. Danny Werfel.
Another one, right? Or, you can go down the list.
Good one. All right, I like that. All right, now this one, what happens to involve me personally, because I made this trade. So you tell me, I gave up Kadarius Toney, who was a rookie. He was actually the 20th pick overall in the draft, but he was the 4th receiver taken behind the big 3, right? You had Jamar Chase, you had Devontae Smith, and you had Waddle, all as your top 3 picks. And there may be another one in there, but Toney was taken 20th, wide receiver to the Giants. So I gave him up along with a 2022 first round pick and a 2023 third round pick.
Okay.
For David Montgomery.
I'm not a Montgomery fan, first of all. I think he plays in a system where he's going to get some yards and that's it because the Bears can do nothing else. So I don't know if I'm high on that pick, on that trade.
Yeah. Well, here's the
Kadarius Toney, by the way, I wouldn't mind giving up Kadarius Toney. I like the kid that you also have, I believe, in your team, Rondale White.
Rondale Moore. No, I don't.
Moore.
Yeah, I don't have him. I was targeting him, but I didn't get him. But
I like Moore better.
I think this Montgomery for our needs. We had in hindsight, it's gonna sound great, but our 2 top backs were Travis Etienne, who obviously is now injured,
as we just talked about. Yep.
Who we just talked about, and then Devin Singletary. Those were our top 2 backs. And AJ Dillon we drafted as well. We had Dillon, but it's yet to be seen how much work he's going to get. We know Singletary is going to be at least 50% of the workload there in Buffalo. So we were weak at depth, and we're not. And Montgomery's still only in his 2nd or 3rd year. So no, maybe third year. So I was okay with that trade. In hindsight, now I love that trade because we really needed some depth at running back, and we got it. And I gave up a guy who's never taken a snap and 2 future draft picks. So for me,
no, I mean, in that case, it's okay. I mean, Dillon's going to be a star, I think.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I got him, so I can rely on him as a potential future, and we have Ramondre Stevenson on our fantasy team for Dynasty as well. So
Ooh, okay.
depth for potential, we do have some depth. For this year, we really needed Montgomery.
Okay. All right. Hopefully the offensive line, the Bears holds up. So far, it hasn't in preseason. We'll see.
I know. All right. Well, hey, that was fun. I'm glad we got to talk a little Dynasty there.
All right. Let's get on to the real thing. We're going to start out with the Carolina Panthers. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah. So, you know what? This is a team that I'm really going to start to like, I think, in the coming years. I think.
Including this year?
No, I don't have them finishing with a record this year.
Okay.
Still like the team. I like the team. I think Sam Darnold going there is going to add a little interest and flair to this offense. Of course, with Christian McCaffrey, he's probably one of the most dynamic players in the entire NFL. You're talking about scrimmage yards. He stays healthy. He's clearing away the number one guy to me.
Yeah.
I really like some of the things that they did in the draft too to strengthen their teams. Out of all the teams in the South and the NFC, they clearly had the best draft. J.C. Horn as their number 8 pick overall cornerback out of South Carolina.
Yep.
Remains to be seen if that's going to be a better pick than the pick that was taken just after him, which was another cornerback out of Alabama that went to Denver, Patrick Surtain II, right? We'll have to see how those careers play out to see if they made the right move there. I may have gone with Surtain over Horn, but I'd take either one of them. They did a nice job getting Terrace Marshall, wide receiver out of LSU. They grabbed in the third round Brady Christensen, tackle in BYU, to help with that offensive line. And then they got the tight end, Tommy Tremble, out of Notre Dame. And they also picked up Chuba Hubbard out of Oklahoma State, running back. In the fourth round. I really like what this team did in the draft. Their schedule is okay. It's not tough. It's not simple. It's probably in the, it's harder than easier for sure.
Yep.
But here's the thing that intrigued me. It's 7.5. I don't think this is a 7.5 win team. I to all day long, if you want another bet, we've been giving you under over bets all year on the show. Bet the under. The only way you could lose is if they actually go 8-9. Sorry, folks. Carolina is not an 8-9 team this year. They might be an 8-9 team next year, but not this year. I just don't see it. And unfortunately, I have them actually way below that at 4-13. So
that's what I got them at as well. I can't believe ESPN's FPI has them at 23, but Vegas has them at over under 7. 23 at FBI does not factor to a 7-win season.
They have them 7.5.
7.5. That doesn't factor. At 23, you're not an 8-win team.
No.
I mean, they legitimately have 5 winnable games: Jets, Texans, Philly, Giants, and Falcons. And maybe 6 if they sweep the Falcons, which I don't think happens. So 4-13, I'm with you.
All
right, let's talk about the Falcons. Another team that's had a mega star, but no longer has him because he's gone on to Tennessee. So Matty Ice is going to play without his man, Julio Jones. But you mentioned earlier, they got Calvin Ridley, who is a star. We'll see. They got Kyle Pitts, another tight end, Maurice Hayden. They're going to be a double tight end threat this year, I think.
Yeah, they could be. And I agree with you. Pitts is definitely going to be a force in that offense. He's going to could potentially lead that team in targets, him and Ridley. But here's another one. Vegas has this team at 7.5, right with Carolina, folks. If I got to give you an under over to bet on, take the under here. This team's not an 8-9 team. I'm sorry.
By the way, their FBI is 24.
Yeah, right. And I just saw them play in person. Granted, Matt Ryan didn't play, and Kyle Pitts didn't play, Ridley didn't play. But still, you get a sense of the makeup of the team. You get a sense of their strategy. You get a sense of their line, their offensive and defensive lines. I just didn't see enough there. I mean, Miami just whipped them all over the place. I mean, it was a joke. And I actually saw them in camp too. They had a joint practice with the Dolphins, so I got to see the Falcons in camp. And I did get to see Matt Ryan. I did get to see Ridley, and I did get to see Pitts. I wasn't impressed. I just wasn't impressed with this team. So I also have them at 4-13. I think this is an easy under pick. if you're looking to bet over-unders on win totals.
I got them 5-12. Their tough games will be, again, Philly, Jets, Carolina. I think they split with Carolina. They got Jacksonville. I think they beat Jacksonville, and they got the Lions. So I see them 5-12.
All right.
I can't bet against Matty Ice, former MVP. He's still got some gas in the tank. We'll see. All right,
BC
let's
boy.
talk about
But,
what's that?
no, I said BC boy.
Yes. Let's start with the Saints because they're a real enigma. By the way, FBI, I think, has them at 19. I'm confused by that. They were one of the 7 best teams in the league last year, NFC, AFC combined. How do they slip that much just because Drew Brees retired? I'm not sure. So what do you think?
Yeah, this is really interesting. And here's the reason why. Brees did not play in a couple of years ago and Teddy Bridgewater came in and played 5 or 6 games and won them all. Last year, he didn't play. Taysom Hill came in and played 5 or 6 games and won them all. I mean, this team was winning without Drew Brees. And now Drew Brees is gone and everyone thinks the team's going to fall apart. I don't know if that's going to happen. And their defense has certainly improved over the years. But, you still got to consider that whole leadership factor and everything else with Brees, whether he's on the field or not, that might be missing from this team. Vegas has them at 9. I think that's where they're going to land. I think they're a 9-win team this year, 9-8. Yeah, they could 1 game or 2 might go the other way, and they could find themselves at 10-7, 11-6, maybe. That would be a stretch. But I think 9 is the number for this team. I really do. I'm not really impressed with anything they did in the draft. They didn't bring any new talent into the organization. So I'm sticking with the 9. I like that number, and I'm going to say they're 9-8 this year.
What I think is going to be a little bit different this year is they're going to be a lot more run-centric with Kamara, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freedom, and they got this other kid, I think it's Danny Jones, who apparently Sean really likes a lot, Sean Payton. The defense, as you said, was one of the better ones in the league last year, so they're all right. Their challenges are this: Green Bay, at Pats, they'll lose that one. At Washington, which is going to be a tough game for them. At Seattle, which I think they'll lose. I think they split with Tampa Bay. Believe it or not, I think they split with Tampa Bay. They had Tampa Bay's number last year, right, in the regular season. They're going to go to Tennessee. That'll be a tough game. They got Buffalo here. They got Dallas here, which is where I think they win, and they got Miami here. So personally, I think they're 10-7. And believe it or not, depending on how the Buffalo and Titans game goes, they could be 12-5.
Okay. All right. We'll see. I think 10-7 is their ceiling for me.
And if Jameis implodes, then forget it. But if Jameis played like he played Monday night, and oh, by the way, this kid Marquez Callaway, where did he come from? He looked like a superstar with those 2 catches he made in traffic. Yeah. One hand, one of them, 2 hands, the other one with 2 guys around him. We'll see.
Which, by the way, while we're on that topic, I know today Denver announced that Drew Lock will not be the starting quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater.
It's going to be Teddy Bridgewater. In New Orleans, have they made the final decision yet on Winston, or is that still Sean Payton mystery?
I think it's after what I saw with Winston the other night. Go back to bringing in, Taysom as the gadget guy, and have success running that. Don't let him start the game. Keep him as one of your weapons in the lineup and let Jameis play until Jameis implodes. But he can throw a deep ball. Jameis can throw a deep ball as good as anybody in the league.
But they haven't announced that officially yet.
No,
right?
they haven't. They haven't.
Okay. All right.
So we'll see. All right. The last one is the Bucs. I don't think they go undefeated. I know we've joked about that. They have the talent to when you return all 22. But what do you think?
Dude, this team is so interesting, right?
Yes.
They're bringing back their entire team. It's Brady's 2nd year with the team. There's so much more chemistry that's built. Godwin was basically only had 50% of the snaps last year. He was hurt for most of the year. He's back. He's a very dynamic, interesting receiver that I think is going to have a big year this year. Their entire defense is back. They could have the number 1 defense in the NFL. I mean, that game against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl was ridiculous at how relentless and fearsome that defense can be. I got this team at 16-1. I only have them losing one game. I want to see what your predicted record is, and then I'll tell you the one game I have them losing after you tell me what you have them in.
Hey, let me add the other thing. You mentioned Godwin. Think about this for a minute. Scotty Miller is a 3, and AB Antonio Brown is a 4 in that wide receiver tandem. And oh, by the way, OJ Howard's back, which theoretically might make Gronk the 3rd tight end in that group. Go figure. That's unbelievable. I'm with you. The defense.
And not to mention, you got Leonard Fournette, you got Ronald Jones, and you got Giovanni Bernard now.
He is a big pickup for them, a huge pickup for them. He's going to surprise people this year.
He's the James White. He's going to be the James White of Tampa Bay this year.
Bingo, you nailed it. So, PB, I see potential losses before I say who they lose. Potential losses are at the Rams early, the Saints, because Saints always have their number in the regular season. They got to play Indy later in the season when everybody will be healthy on Indy. The Pats, game 4, as we know, the biggest game in the regular season probably. Washington, who played them very tough in the playoffs last year. The Bears, who beat them on Thursday night last year, and then they got the Bills. So they don't have a really easy schedule. I see them as 14-3. If they go 16-1, it's because they only lose to the Saints.
All right, interesting. With my 16-1 record, I have them losing that game early on at the Rams in week 3. That's the one loss I have for them. But you're right. All those other games that you mentioned, I think there was 5 in total. They could easily lose 3 of those. Maybe they lose another one somewhere in the mix. I mean, this team right now, 4 losses max. I mean, this is a 13-14 at worst. And I think Vegas right now has them at 12. So take the over. This team's not, it's 12. They would have to go 11-7. No, 11-6. They would have to go 11-6 for you to lose that bet. 12, you push, you win at 13. Just take the over. There's no way this team's only winning 11 games.
I'm with you. That's for sure. All right. That wraps up our preview of this year's schedule, all 8 divisions. So we'll come at you not next week. Yeah, next week, actually. Next week, we'll talk about what we think is going to happen through the playoffs. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we got to do our NFL predictions. We haven't actually given our predictions yet. So
all right, and then we got, for those who are involved, who said they want to play, Survivor Fantasy goes on 9/2, which is what, a week from tomorrow, right, PB?
Week from tomorrow is our PB&Z Survivor Draft, and I'm still trying to entice Emily, who was last year's champion, who hasn't really been responding. She's kind of laying low right now. We don't know if she's going to play. She said we have to give her a little bit more shame, give her some shame on this show in order to get her to come back in. So,
Emily, it's right up your alley. You're a woman. This is right perfect for you. You never played football in your life. You probably play golf. That's what fantasy football is all about. Come on.
All right.
All right. PB, good show. I like that. Dynasty Fantasy fans. Is there a lot of people doing this, PB? I don't know.
Yeah, Dynasty's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It's more realistic to owning an actual football team.
You become a career fantasy person when you play Dynasty, right?
You pretty much.
Nice. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend.